What's happening, Fight Family? We've been gone for a minute. It's your boy Gus. Rich not in the building, but I wanted to drop a quick video. Been on vacation. We had Father's Day just passed. So happy Father's Day to everybody. I know it's late, and also happy Juneteenth. So just getting back in town. So I wanted to drop a quick video, man, and give my thoughts on this Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney craziness that's been going on. If you've been living under a rock, I got you. Um, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney fought April 20th, I want to say it was. Um, Ryan Garcia, for the most part, dominated the second half of the fight, ended up taking the fight. Um, After the fight, about a week, 10 days later, tested dirty for a banned substance, performance enhancer called ostarine. Ryan requested his B sample. That also came back dirty as well. He ended up getting a hair follicle test to try to, show his side of the story and say that, he hadn't been doping all this time and that, possible contamination. Ended up getting representation in there to take his side and, just see the process through as they tested that B sample so he could rule out any type of mistakes from the lab that Vada was using, which would be the water labs. Ruled that out. Next up, he was blaming Victor Conti, threw some blame on Devin Haney as to why he tested dirty. He would just also threw some blame at one of the supplement companies called Ashwagandha, a natural supplement company. They ended up coming back and pretty much saying that it's not true. Tested their products and stood on their word. So Ryan scrambled again and ended up pinning it on two other companies. I forget the name of the companies right now, but they tested their products. They came out, defended it, and said 1,000% they tested the same lot numbers that Ryan tested, and none of their products had ostarine in it. So I think Ryan ended up landing with someone in his camp possibly tampered with his supplements, and that's how the ostarine got in there. At the end of the day, the man tested dirty for A sample, B sample with water. Um, the New York State Athletic Commission ended up taking that same sample, testing it as well, and it came back dirty. So pretty much the same piss came back dirty 5 different times with different tests. Four from water and bottle, and one from the New York State Athletic Commission. So they handed down a penalty. A lot of people were split on this. Some people were saying you think he'll get off with the levels that were in his system. It did not, help him in the fight. Then you had the other side saying that, at the end of the day, he had something in his body that he shouldn't have had, whether it was intentional or not. It's hard to prove that, but he has to be punished. Took about a month and a half, but last week we did get a ruling from the New York State Athletic Commission, and they pretty much came out and said that Ryan Garcia did cheat, whether it was intentional or unintentional. They didn't really give a deep dive into it. They just went ahead and dropped the what I would call basically like a plea deal. Ryan and his lawyers, I think, kind of expected that there would be some type of punishment, and as long as it was acceptable. So Ryan Garcia has been suspended for 1 year, dating back to April the 20th. So 1 year from that date. So I think he has about 10 months left on the suspension. He was also fined the purse. I think it was around 1.1, $1.2 million that he had to forfeit and pretty much give back to Golden Boy or not accept it all from Golden Boy, and then a $10,000 fine from the New York State Athletic Commission. And last but not least, Devin Haney got his old back. So a lot going on there. From the beginning, once I heard the news, I took about 4 or 5 days, did some research. Me and Rich got on here, and I've pretty much been consistent the whole way through. I felt like In my opinion, he did cheat. I felt like he did it on purpose. Proving that is one thing, but if you just follow all the antics how Ryan's been doing since, I mean, before the fight, I love steroids, using IVs. Um, he was coming out saying basically I'm natty. I don't use any supplements. Then we come back and come to find out he is using supplements. So it's just hard to follow when he's telling the truth. To think he's telling the truth and to give him the benefit of the doubt now. I just couldn't do that. So I was pretty consistent. I felt like he was dirty and cheated the entire time. Um, I felt like he was going to get suspended. I was hoping it to be at least 2 years. A much higher fine, pay some more money on that. And I felt like Devin would get that no contest to where, it's erased off his record as an L and the dub is erased off of Ryan Garcia's record. Turns out I was pretty much spot on from what happened with the suspension, having to pay some money and getting that O back for Devin. I just was off on the amount of time. But really, Ryan Garcia is getting off really good. Being out a year, pretty much that's a vacation from him. He might have fought one more time in between that time period, but taking a year off for him is nothing. He's been all over the place. Just seen him last night with Jimmy Butler. I want to say he was making jokes, playing cards, and gambling, just doing all type of stuff. So Ryan's gonna be fine. Missing an extra 10 months, that ain't gonna hurt him at all. Having to forfeit the purse, that ain't gonna mean too much. The next time they announce a big fight for him, pretty much he'll get that. I'm pretty sure he'll get that money either on the front end or the back end, and make that back. That ain't gonna be nothing. And then a $10,000 fine, I mean, that's a slap on the wrist for Ryan Garcia. The biggest thing was him losing that W against Devin, and it turned into a no contest. I think that kind of hit him hard. So hopefully that can strike a rematch at some point in time when he is available to fight again. From Devin Haney's standpoint, like I said from the beginning, Devin had defensive issues in the fight. He had success very early on. I felt like he should have had a different offensive game plan, maybe keeping that fight on the outside and sticking and moving a little bit more than he was. But even with the offensive game plan that he had, he was successful in the first half of the fight. His defense just derailed him, and he got hit with too many shots. And he couldn't handle them shots at the end of the day. So that still is an issue. And I've been saying it since the fight actually happened. That's something you got to fix, no matter who he fights next, whether it's Sandor Martin, Mario Barrios, or if he waits and, gets a rematch with Ryan. You got to fix that issue. But the disdain that a lot of people have for Devin Haney, on social media, content creators, it's crazy right now, man. The dude ain't done nothing wrong, in my opinion. Maybe his pops, him and his pops, they got a lot of mouth. They do talk a lot, but at the end of the day, they're trying to sell the fights a lot of time. You're trying to make Devin a bigger name at the point in time. He was an undefeated fighter, undisputed, got it through the mud. They had his own promotional company, didn't come straight out and sign with anybody. So, Devin was trying to be almost like a one-of-one to a certain extent. And I can respect that, It's a lot of other father-son combinations that, people respect, and they do the same thing that Devin and his pops is doing. And, it's not the same type of disdain and, disrespect that I see that we get from Devin Haney. So that's just unfortunate from the fans' standpoint. I really don't see why people disrespect Devin to the level that they do. I mean, if you're critiquing him as far as what he does in the ring, that makes sense, Get on him. I'm getting on him the same way as far as from his defensive, but a lot of stuff is outside of the ring, talking about the man's moms and, just everything else. I don't know why people feel like they wouldn't feel cheated if they were in the same situation. Regardless if you had defensive issues or offensive issues, if you found out somebody did something that gave them an advantage, whether it was a slight advantage or a huge advantage. And let's not forget that the man came in overweight on purpose, had no intentions of making weight. Devin drained himself all the way down. Um, was a professional throughout the entire process. All of this stuff just adds up, and I really don't get the fans. That's my biggest takeaway with this. But Devin got his O back. He'll have to get it through the mud now. Hopefully, he fixed those defensive issues. I would like for him to get a solid fight coming back. I think Sandor Martin would be a good fight for him. I understand, he had the purse bid, and I think it was Top Rank was the only one that bid on it, and it was a little over $1 million. So it's pretty much a slap in the face for how much money Devin will be actually making if he takes that fight. So that's kind of fucked up at the end of the day, but it is what it is. The WBC, they're giving him 6, 7 more days to make a decision on whether he's going to take that fight or not, and they're going to end up stripping him. So Devin got a short amount of time, make some big decisions, see what he's going to do. It's good that they already dropped the decision to give his O back. Ryan's been punished, so that part has already been taken care of. It's just now down to what decisions he's gonna make. So I would like for him to get a solid fight coming back. Don't jump in there with no Tiafimo. Don't wait, sit on your ass, and go fight Ryan in 1 year and don't have any fights in between. You just get back on the saddle, man. Get you one of these solid fights out here. Somebody that ain't got too much power. If they got some skill, go skill for skill. And get your confidence back. Get you a W back under your belt. And I think Devin will be just fine. But both of these guys are going to be good. Ryan's going to sit out these 10 months, have fun, be all over social media, all over the place doing interviews. You still build his brand. He's going to come back. He's going to make a lot of money. And I wouldn't be surprised at some point that they give him a chance to get a shot at another title. Might have to be at 47, since I don't know if he can make the weight. But he's going to be just fine. This was just a small slap on the wrist, but at the end of the day, I'm glad Devin did get some type of justice out of it. Now it's time to capitalize and make something happen. So Devin, same thing. I think he'll be fine, but he's gotta capitalize. He's got to come out of this and go out there and get a dub on somebody, then come back and try to set the Ryan fight up and get the rematch if that's possible. If not, T.O., you got Isaac Cruz, a couple good fights out there. I think even Eddie Hearn was offering up Liam Poirot. At this point in time, I don't know about Poirot. Poirot is pretty tough. I called that Matias fight, so that might be a rough fight, but he ain't got the same type of power that Ryan got. So I'd rather that than jumping into a Ryan or a T.O. fight. So we'll see what both of them do, but right now, we did get some answers at the end of the day. We got some answers. Ryan's suing supplement companies. They're suing him. I'm pretty sure he's going to try to appeal some of the stuff that's been going on, try to get some answers as far as those pill bottles or supplements being contaminated and come out on top with the lawsuit. Maybe they turn around and readjust the suspension, but I don't see that coming. So at the end of the day, justice was served. Devin Haney got his O back. Get back on the saddle. Get you some fights in there. Ryan, do better, baby. Do better. You're still young. He gonna come back, do his thing, but it is what it is. And that's all I got on this, but I just wanted to drop my 2 cents on the situation. And let's move on, man. We got a lot of good boxing coming up. We got Teofimo coming up next week with a nice tune-up fight. I think it's Steve Claggett. He's been popping his gums a lot, talking about he won't Terrence Crawford. They hired Terrence Crawford, so it's about to heat back up. Jerron Ennis to be coming down the pipe after that. And then we'll get that big-time card in Saudi Arabia with Terrence Crawford. So me and Rich will be jumping on here in the near future, next couple of days, and previewing those fights. But I just wanted to jump out there and give my 2 cents on what's going on with Ryan and Devin. And with that, I'm out of here.